What is good, Counter-Strike fans? Welcome to my 19th episode of my HLTV Fantasy. Today, we're going to talk about the playoff stage for IEM Dallas 2025. Make sure to like and subscribe for me getting out this video, for your enjoyment and for your fantasy thoughts. So, like we always do, let's take a look back at how I did for the group stage for IEM Dallas. And this is the team I decided to go with. I went with Double Vitality in Apex and Flamesy, and Double Falcons with Tessus and Kixen. And then I threw in Brolin as my mouse pick. Top 11%, just missing out on the top 10. And missing out on those extra 3 points going towards my spring season standings. Kind of unfortunate as well. I think I was top 10 right before the G2 and Gamer Legion match ended. Because I checked after the Vitality and Mongols game finished, and G2 and Gamer Legion was still going on. And after that updated, I dropped out to the top 11%. So I was probably like a booster or a role activation away from the top 10. So really close margins. If we take a look at the best value for money team, I mean, we had Double Mouse with Torchy and Spinks by far away the most popular, alongside Jimhat. And Monacy, Apex, and Centaurus as well. And the other team that had best value for money was Mongols with 910 and Sensu. And I even checked the best team in general, and it had Spinks, Jimhat, Messinho, Techno, and Apex. So definitely now we're seeing that HLTV is kind of overpricing those top teams. For example, Vitality, I feel like it's getting overpriced now. And I mean, it makes sense. They've been on a 28 match win streak, I believe. So it makes sense that they're going to be overpriced. But especially for these group stages, they might not be as optimal, just because if they don't blow teams out, they probably don't have the capability of reaching that value that some of the cheaper options, like for example Mongols, who won both their games, kept it close against Vitality, and they were so cheap that they were valuable enough. So just some thinking. I mean, we saw that as well in the previous event in PGL Astana, where Spirit was actually the most optimal, was just to have one Spirit player, even though they won the whole event and they were the most dominant team. Their pricing was just way too high compared to the rest, that you could find ways to, ways to make up those points somewhere else. But enough about that. Let's talk about what we're here for. We're here to talk about the playoffs for IEM Dallas. And really quickly, Vitality and Mouse will have the bye, so their players will only get 6 points for moving on through the semifinals. So on the upper side of the quarterfinals will be Falcons and Gamer Legion. The winner will face Vitality. And in the lower side, we have Mongols and Aurora, and the winner of that will face Mouse. So really quickly, as we all know, I think we can all guess that Falcons should 2-0 Gamer Legion easily. Falcons didn't really come into this event playing that well into this playoffs. They kind of struggled in the group stage, and they got beat by Mouse quite handily as well. So I'm going to go with Falcons giving Gamer Legion. Even though Gamer Legion did well to make it to the playoffs, I just don't think they're ready to show out and beat someone like Falcons, especially because I think they're a top 4 team pretty easily. And I think they're one of the major favorites alongside other teams like Vitality, Mouse, and Spirit. And so Falcons, I think, should win this easily 2-0. Probably a crushing 2-0 as well, which should mean opportunity for them to farm. And later on we're going to talk about this in the player overview. They should be some good value for money, at least for that first game, and then have the highest upside of any of the teams, because they could make the grand final. They could. As for the quarterfinal, Mongols versus Aurora, I think it's a 50-50 as well. Two teams that kind of struggle on stage. Their most recent matchup was in PGL Astana on stage as well, and Aurora won that. Um, Mongols had pretty good games. I mean, they beat Furia even though they just came in from Astana like a couple hours before the game. They beat G2, but G2 are just horrible right now. And they took Vitality to 3 maps. They almost beat the streak for Vitality, so that was good to see from Mongols. I mean, if they would have beat it, then I think they would come into this event, to this playoffs, a little bit more confident. However, it was still a good showing from them. As for Aurora, I believe they lost against Heroic, but you can give them. They lost in 3 maps, and I think you can give them like some grace just because they did come from Astana as well, just like Furia did. If we check it out, they beat NRG quite easily. They beat Liquid as well, quite handily. I remember that. And then they got their revenge against Heroic and beat them 2-1 to make it to the playoffs. And I looked at their previous match history as well. It's just a back and forth and who wins and who loses. I'm just gonna go with Aurora. I like their firepower more. I feel like they might be a little bit more consistent on stage than Mongols. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Aurora. It's probably a 50-50. That will set up a semifinals of Vitality and Falcons and Mouse vs Aurora. And I'm gonna talk about this Mouse vs Aurora game. Honestly, it doesn't really matter who goes through between Mongols and Aurora. They're probably gonna lose to Mouse. Mouse have come into this event looking really strong. And yeah, I think they're probably the highest guaranteed team to make it to the grand final, even higher than Vitality, just because of getting a first round bye, and then also having to face probably the easiest semifinal matchup possible. Other than maybe if Gamer Legion were to be Falcons, then Vitality will have the easiest semifinals matchup. But yeah, Mouse should win this and then should make it to the grand final. As for the other semifinal, Vitality versus Falcons, Vitality look weak. I mean, they don't look weak, but they look vulnerable. They have kept it close a lot of times with a lot of these teams, and it seems like the smash streak, keeping this consistency up for so long, it's kind of taking a burden into them. I think honestly it might be better for them just to lose the match streak here in Dallas rather than going into the major with the match streak, because that's gonna be add extra pressure on them. At least with the loss somewhere here in this event, they could use it as a motivation, as a wake up call, and then having them, be focused fully just on the major rather than just, winning the major and also keeping the streak, because that's just two things that can weigh them down. And you can see it as well. It's like they've been just getting closer and closer to losing. It's gonna happen eventually. Is it gonna happen here at Dallas, or is it gonna happen at the major, or it's not gonna happen until maybe next season, maybe next year? I'm not sure, but they just look vulnerable at this time. I mean, they still clutch it out and they still have enough firepower to just, win out with that. But I need to see something better from Vitality. Going into the major, maybe hopefully having a strong run here in the playoffs will give me that confidence in them again. But they're going against the Falcons team who have taken them. I mean, Falcons were 2 maps away from 2 rounds away from beating Vitality, beating them in the, I forget what event it was, but it was 2 events ago in the grand final. But Vitality just clutched it out and they won that event. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Vitality. Falcons hasn't really shown much here, and I think Falcons, their mentality is a little bit weak right now, especially losing a lot of maps where they like go up into a big lead and then all of a sudden they just like keep losing round after round and are not able to close it out. And Vitality might just have the edge here just because of that. And then so that will lead to another grand final rematch between Vitality and Mouse. And I think, I think Mouse do it. I think Miles will be Vitality here in IME Dallas. I mean, what exactly does Vitality have to play for? I mean, they already, won everything this year. I think the only thing that they need to focus on is just winning the major. And, you know, maybe they're not preparing fully. They have their eye just at the major because they don't need to, win the Grand Slam anymore. They already won this, so this event doesn't really matter for them at this stage. Maybe they already have their eye on the major right now. Like, they're not fully focused in this event, and it's just kind of like an event just to get them through to the major, and then hopefully there they can, complete their dominant half season. I mean, they're just been dominant in general. And I think Miles, it would do a lot more for them to win here, and then hopefully take that momentum into the major. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Miles winning this grand final. It probably will be Vitality, but I don't know. I have a feeling with Miles for this event. Now we can talk about the most picked players, and guess what? HLTV decided not to release the most picked players. So we just have a normal top rated players, and this is not even for this event. It's just the top players in general this year. So I don't really want to talk about this. We just go straight into the player overview and reviewing each team. So we're gonna start off with Vitality, and let me show you how they done for this event. And you can see a lot of the ratings have been pretty close together. I mean, Flamesy, Sidewin, Robs, hanging around that low 120s. Apex with a 115 as well for this event in 7 maps. And then Messi down there with 1.08. So very consistent. It's taken all of them to, make it go 3-0 in this event. If we look at their prices, Apex at 202. I mean, if he's fragging out like this, he will be worth it. I think he does farm a little bit on group stages as well with easier opposition. Him and Flamesy do a lot better than when it comes to playoffs. You can't quote me on this, but I would expect Robs and Messi to do better. It's the same thing that we talked about already. That in group stages, you kind of want Apex and Flamesy more because it's an easier opposition. They go in first and get a couple kills there, and then Robs and Messi don't really have much to do then. And in the later stages, when Robs and Messi can trade them out a lot easier or have more chance of trading them out. So Apex is solid pricing at 202, so is Messi. I would say Flamesy and Robs. Well, Flamesy, I would say I wouldn't go Flamesy here, even though he was their best performer in Dallas at the group stage. I don't really like how he performs in playoffs. It's gonna be a lot tougher for him with the opposition he's gonna be facing. He's gonna be facing Falcons, and if they win that, they're gonna be facing Mouse. It's just not the best matchups for him. I think Robs is a lot better at 225, and I don't think Cyber will be worth it at 245 either. So I would say avoid Sidewin Flamesy, and I would say you probably want to buy Apex, Messi, and Robs if you want to go Vitality. Do you want to go double up? I'm not sure. I don't think the matchups are there for them to, bring the value. I think one is enough. That's kind of like a safety valve, but it's up to you. For Mouse, let's take a look at how their ratings they were in Dallas. And they had really strong ratings. I mean, Torshi with a 1.5, Spinks as well with a 1.45 were the best players from Mouse. Jimha did quite well as well with a 1.25. Searching kind of disappointing with a 1.15. And then Brolin's a solid 1.07. Mouse, I think, should make the playoffs. I think going 2 here makes sense, especially with the matchup they're going to get. It's not going to be an easy matchup, but, having the chance to, maybe put up good performance against Aurora or Mongols could help their value. Um, I say honestly, all 5 are in play. I would say my favorites are probably Torshi and Spinks out of the gold options. I think Torshi is probably the most consistent on stage, and he's been quite good. I guess the opposition they're gonna play, so if they're gonna play Aurora or Mongols, he's put up some good ratings against them this year. Spinks as well. Meanwhile, Surgeon kind of struggles against those teams. I think those teams are a little bit too aggressive for him, and they kind of counteract his aggressiveness already. And Roland and Jameson are fine as well for the price. For Falcons, let's take a look at how they did in the group stage. And it was just a modesty show. 1.38, by far and away the best player from Falcons. I mean, Magic's did quite well compared to what his usual is. He put up a 0.99. Tessa struggled. Nico definitely struggled. And Kixan, you don't expect too much from Kixan, but it's a drop off from his usual. And this is why I say that even though Falcons have taken Vitality to the limit, they haven't come into this tournament looking as good as they did. Is the honeymoon phase starting to wear off a little bit? Maybe. I mean, when you have Monacy and Nico on your team, you always have a chance. I would say for sure that I would avoid on Magix and Nico. I think Nico especially has been too expensive, and ever since Monacy has come in, he hasn't really been up to his standard. I think maybe Monacy's taken a little bit too much away from him. Magic's at 186. I'd rather just pay down to Kixan, even though Magic could be a differential. So if you want to have extra money and you want to go Magic's, you can go ahead. He probably has a good headshot percentage as well. Headshot roll. I would focus more on Kixan, Tessus, and Monacy. I think Monacy could probably be the best value for money player at the end of the event if Falcons, farm Gamer Legion, and if they make it all the way to the finals, he for sure will be the best value for money, hands down. I think a 225 is too cheap for him, especially because he could put up a 1.3. However, they're gonna face Vitality. You're gonna have to really risk it with Monacy in order to get that top 1%. But he's definitely an option if you want to go with Falcons. He for sure has to be there if you want to double up there, and if you believe in Falcons making it to the grand finals. Kicks and Teslas are just solid options as well. They're good for the price. I mean, they bid this price for a while, and it just makes sense, especially with the easy Gamer Legion matchup. They could at least do enough to be worth the price. For Aurora, this is their ratings. So Centaurus back to his usual. I mean, we haven't seen the Centaurus in a while, but he's putting up a 1.29. That's great to see. Wicadia has just been solid, putting up a 1.18. Jota popped off as well, 1.12. Block 6 kind of struggling, and so is Major. These are kind of low for them, but in general, some of these ratings for these riflers has been quite good. And their matchup against Mongols is a 50-50. And I don't expect either Aurora or Mongols to be Mouse, so there's not really much of expectation here. I would say if you wanted to take a chance on Aurora, you can. But if you want to go one-off, it's definitely Major. 176 is probably the cheapest player you can get that has a chance to at least win one matchup. Jota as well is kind of decent, 187. I say these are probably two of my favorites. If you want to go full Aurora and believe in Aurora, then I mean obviously you have to go with Centaurus, but in general, probably just stick with Major and Jota. For Mongols, this is the ratings, and it's pretty solid as well. 910 was the highest rating with a 1.25. Misinho, Sansu, and Blitz 1.15 through 1.17, so solid there as well. And then Techno 0.98. So in general, their ratings have been up from what their usual is for the last few months. But the pricing, I would say, is not as enticing. I mean, Techno 180 is fine. Between him and Major, I'd rather just go with Major. Major also has a better history playing against Mongols and putting up higher ratings than Techno has against Aurora. If you want to take the chance and gamble on Mongols, I definitely say spend up a little bit more. Get someone like Blitz alongside. Blitz would be my favorite. Then if you want to spend up on Mongols, Blitz alongside Messinho, 910 cents. So it really depends on who you're feeling. Messinho has the upside, and he's shown that he actually kind of performs better on stage. He doesn't really drop off that much. 19 is just consistent. There's not much upside. There's not much downside either. And Sensu, he has the highest upside, but he's shown that he kind of struggles a lot on stage. So it's up to you who you rather go with and how's your budget and who else you want to pair them with. But definitely, if you want to double up, pick Blitz alongside one of these three. As for Game Legion, they're not options, but let's just take a look at what they did. I mean, Res, Tossin, and PR in the mid to high 1 ratings, and then CTR and Acor with low 0.9. And yeah, I'd say if you want to take a chance here, Tossin would be my favorite. And if you want to, believe in Gamer Legion to win it all, PR and Res are your options. But they're not gonna. If they get past Balkans, they're definitely not getting past Vitality. And if they get past Vitality and go up against Mouse and beat them, then it's just the most crazy miracle run I've seen, honestly. You're playing 3 out of the top 4 teams in Counter-Strike right now. It's just not possible. So let's talk about some of the teams I created. I think there are currently 2 teams that I'm kind of going back and forth on. So this first team is Double Mouse, Double Falcons with a Vitality thrown in there. And I think this team makes sense because we're investing most of our money into Mouse, who I think will make the grand finals, and they should win as well, in my opinion. Broly and Torchy are solid, I would say. Torchy is definitely the pick out of the Mouse players just because he's the most consistent on stage and in general. And Broly, it's just, he's fine. He's not exciting. He's probably not even worth the price, but I kind of have to double up there. The reason I'm going Double Falcons is they have an easy matchup against Gamer Legion. It makes sense, to at least go with like 2 of their better performance for a cheap price, hoping that they farm Gamer Legion a little bit, and then maybe having the chance of beating Vitality in that semifinals. If they don't, then at least you have Apex for Vitality, so you kind of hedge there a little bit. And so with Mouse, I'm thinking like Mouse should make the grand final. Then you will at least have for sure 3 players if Vitality wins it, or you can have 4, and that would still be good enough to be a top 20 team. And we've seen the pricing that, especially you saw it as well in the previous event, PJ Ostana in the playoffs, that only Dunk was the most optimal. So even though they won the whole event, they didn't really destroy teams as much as you thought they would, and they didn't, receive the best. They didn't get enough value for them to be worth it. So I don't expect Vitality to destroy Falcons or Mouse or whoever's facing the grand final. I think it will be quite close, and so that leads me to believe that most of the players will not live up to that value. But you can always, take the chance. I mean, that's just me personally. I think I'm playing a little bit more the meta game. And yeah, this thing makes sense just because Falcons have the easy Gamer Legion matchup, and then I think Mouse should make it to the finals, and I think Falcons have a chance of beating Vitality. If they don't, I don't expect many of the Vitality players to be the highest value for this event. This is a safe-ish lineup, I would say. I would say it's pretty safe. I think because I can't look at the most picked players, I would say people are definitely picking Mouse players and they're picking Vitality players. Some might be picking Falcons, so it's relatively safe. This next one, I think, has the highest upside. And this is my high upside team that I'm going back and forth between my safe lineup and this lineup. And this team, we're basically saying Vitality. We're basically saying Falcons is going to beat Vitality. And this lineup makes sense. And it could be a top 1% because we're having double Falcons, double Mouse. So Kixan and Monacy alongside Torchi and Brolin. And our major as our fifth. Monacy should farm. I think Monacy will be one of the best value for money players, even if they don't beat Vitality. That's for sure, because I think he will farm against Gamer Legion. It just depends on Falcons beating Vitality. I'm not sure. I'm too confident. If they would have put up a better performance against Mouse, I would definitely gone in with this team. And this was my first draft, so this was the first team I picked. But now that I've been thinking a little bit more about it, I went with the safe lineup as well. Already talked about Torchi and Brolin. Solid duo. It could be anyone, honestly. It could be Sershin, it could be Spinks, it could be Jimhead as well. You can pick whoever you like there as your second alongside Brolin. Or even you can even put up more money into Mouse, but personally I wouldn't. And then Major, he's the cheapest option other than the Gamer Legion players. And I think he has a chance, beats Mongols. Hopefully, if he beats Mongols, and then hopefully he just puts up a good performance there, farms a little bit of points there, and then just doesn't get destroyed by Mouse too badly, he could be solid for his price. And he's super cheap, so even if he stinks it up, it won't be the worst, especially because we don't have Chicken out anymore. So yeah, still stuck between these two lineups. I will put the link down below for my team. And I might be able to leave a comment right before the event as well, which one I'm gonna go with. If I were to pick one right now, I really like this upside one. I gotta take a chance somewhere. I think this could be the event I take the chance on, and just hope the Vitality just end their match winning streak here. But I know we're gonna have at least 4 more events for the major. Is this where I take the differential here, or do I play a little bit safe with this lineup here and just keep getting those top 15-20% and hope that boosts me up a little bit, and then take my chance in stage 1 of the major and maybe stage 2 as well? I had to pick a team right now. I'm leaning towards this team, but it's a 60-40. And yeah, just check the link as well in the description for my most up-to-date lineup. And I probably might leave a comment down below as well with my thinking. But yeah, I think I have to take a chance now. I think this lineup could allow me to take the chance, especially with Monacy being such great value. But yeah, let me know your comments down below about your teams. Let me know your thoughts about some of my lineups here. Which one do you think I should go with? Do you think I should take the chance against Vitality? It could be the moment, They have looked a lot weaker, and I think they're just preparing for the major. They're not really focusing on this event too much. And yeah, good luck, have fun, and see you for the next time.